Hello, I'm Stephanie Cook. I'm a certified Gottman therapist and director here at Couples Counseling ATL. Today I'm talking about what happens when relationships fizzle, including why it happens and what can be done about it. Let me start with a story. A dear friend called me the other day, seeming okay at first, when she broke out into a bunch of tears. She confessed to me that her marriage had fizzled and had lost its passion, and she felt alone and wondered if there was something wrong with her or her husband or her marriage, just because the passion had waned to more of a flicker. They hadn't had sex in months, and they both seemed to prefer ice cream and Netflix nights over anything sexual. Flirting had stopped years ago, and she wondered if he was even attracted to her anymore. My friend and her husband are two very attractive people, first of all, who, despite the wear and tear of their marriage and children and busy careers, I know have always loved each other. And they've had as much passion as anyone else usually has, especially early in the infatuation stage. And according to her, they'd even managed to keep passion alive for much of their years of dating and for, a decade of marriage. And despite so many good years, my friend couldn't understand why their relationship and intimacy had really struggled in especially the past 2 years. My first thought was, we've had a pandemic the last 2 years. Maybe this could be part of this. But I did really feel for her, and I wanted to help. So, like most people who confess this all too common problem to me, whether it's a friend or a couples therapy client, I try to listen to them and understand their pain and confusion. And if you too are struggling like my friend, you're not alone. Likely you're asking yourself, what does this mean? Are we doomed to be sexless roommates? Can anything be done? Is this how all relationships end up, or marriages? Should we just get divorced or break up? First of all, if you're feeling this way, don't panic. There's likely a lot that can be done to improve your spark and your passion for one another again, so don't throw in the towel just yet. Believe me, things can change. Another friend of mine who was on the verge of divorce every time she called me last year has lately been having so much sex in the past year with her husband that it's like we're back to dating again. The truth is that the majority of modern, Western, long-term committed love marriages and relationships have all had that passionate spark at one time, even if they've lost it since. And you can remember what it's like in the beginning. Those feelings are intense. You spend as much time together as you can. You find it difficult to keep your hands off of each other. Maybe you decided to take the next step in the relationship. Maybe you moved in together, got married. Maybe you've had children. Whether it's a couple months or a couple years, you begin to wonder what happens sometimes when the passion wanes. And it can be painful to wonder what happened or whether or not anything can be done to bring it back. So the first thing is that you acclimate. When you see each other every day, usually after marriage or moving in, and the novelty of an amazing new love wears off, it's human nature to acclimate to one another. Many people begin to make the mistake of assuming that you already know everything about that person, so you stop making conversation and you don't stay as intentional about investing in the closeness anymore. And every couple has to move from that initial blind infatuation to a more knowing closeness in that post-infatuation, which is really more of a real stage of a relationship when closeness is possible when you know each other's flaws and you're not just idolizing each other. So what can also be problematic during this stage is if you stop being curious and you stop asking questions and being interested and making conversation, you kind of lose touch with one another and you kind of wrongly assume that you know them. And as life happens and you start to share more serious commitment together in daily life, you can also easily slip into that bad habit of hiding yourself from your partner, not opening up as much, not really sharing, the best and the worst parts of your day, what's exciting you these days, what you're afraid of, the stuff that best friends usually share. So it's easier to hide from emotional intimacy, especially when you're tired or stressed or grumpy, to name just a few reasons. So back to kind of what you can do to begin to, reignite any sense of passion or, strong feelings towards one another. You can start to plan activities with your partner to just have that quality time for just the two of you. You can try to turn the TV and devices off and put your phones down. Better yet, lock them up. They're a real problem these days in modern relationships. You can begin to establish a regular time every day to just talk and check in, take off money, children, chores, jobs, kind of take that off limits, see what else you can try to talk about. The goal is to get back to feeling like best friends and lovers. And so you need to have the art of intimate conversation again and begin opening up. And even if you don't have money for a sitter or you don't have the time, you can stay up and just, grab a tea. By starting to have more intimate conversation, most of us start to see our partner with different eyes, with fresh eyes. And, you start to realize that you really can never fully know someone completely. Falling back in love usually starts with better, more intimate conversation where you feel known and you feel like you know them. Another problem that can get in the way for modern couples is, not having to arrange time to be with each other, just kind of seeing each other, not spending that time investing in the relationship that you used to have to be very intentional by, like scheduling a date or something. You're more seriously committed and live together now, so it's easy just to lose that intentionality and to just kind of rest on your laurels and assume that, we love each other and the connection that you've already built. So if there isn't that ritual of regularly arranging a time to spend alone with each other or making, special ways of saying I love you or I choose you, and I'm not done having fun with you, if you don't have those intentional kind of connections every night or every day, you start to treat each other kind of like furniture, and you just kind of take each other for granted, pass each other in the hallway, and they might fade to the recesses of your mind. So, the main culprit here isn't being a bad person. It's really just kind of a slow drift and neglect of each other and taking each other for granted. And so the antidote is to become intentional, to create that time and space to spend quality time together. Being around each other all the time is also a problem. Hello, pandemic. It's kind of harder to miss each other and to have some time away out in the world, to come back home to each other and to share your day. If you're both around each other all day, it's kind of hard to feel like you have anything new to say if it feels like Groundhog's Day every day. Again, once you've set those devices aside with your full attention and presence, you really can begin to hopefully look forward to seeing each other again, and to really build some sort of routine that you can look forward to. I recommend pairing it with something fun like, again, some tea, or if you both enjoy dessert, or if you enjoy, a back massage, maybe making that part of your routine as well. In addition to that nightly ritual, you might want to start to, start doing those special things that you used to do for each other early in dating. Whether it's flirting or making time to just send them a message, or to express, something that you like about them, or sharing some appreciation for, who they are. So if you were never taught how important this is, it's likely just that, it's an honest mistake. You don't know what you don't know. And so the importance of that sacred kind of time together dedicated to each other, just like watering your plants every day so they don't die. It's really important to just recognize that life isn't a fairy tale, and you really do have to invest daily into a relationship to feel close to somebody, but also to feel passion for them. So my message is of hope. I hope that you really understand that if you're, distracted by your phones or work or hobbies or your kids or the million other things that can vie for your attention every day, you're not alone. You just have to start doing some special things for each other that communicate love, all the different ways of showing each other through gifts and talking and compliments and, all the little things that, we usually associate with like courtship. You have to kind of bring that back to life in order to kind of stoke, kind of more the fires of, feeling good about each other and enjoying each other. One of the last things I would say is that if you're really struggling with this, you can also do some work on your own by reflecting. Despite the routine of life and being kind of bogged down in the routine sometimes, you can always go back down memory lane and think about what have you enjoyed most about the early part of your relationship and being with them. Maybe there's some things from your past that you need to bring back. We used to dance together, or we used to go on walks. Why don't we do that anymore? Maybe that's something to bring back. You can also reflect on what sort of expectations you have about your partner that, maybe aren't feeling met. How could you express yourself with kindness and honesty to be more likely to get what you need without sounding critical? And were there things that they appreciated about you that maybe you don't do anymore that you could do a better job of doing these days? And then lastly, if that's not enough, maybe consider seeing a couples therapist here at Couples Counseling ATL, or participate in one of our workshops. We have one once a quarter. You can learn more at counselingatl.com. But most of all, don't lose hope.